everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing well. So we are discussing multiple concepts and today we are going to talk about the learning curve. So what is learning curve? Learning curve basically is a graphical representation of the rate at which the progress of the child happens. So it is the rate at which the child will learn. So each day the teacher will come in the class and will teach multiple things. एक child कैसे उस चीज को सीखता है, that is called as the learning curve. So this concept was given by Hermann Ebbinghaus, and this concept was given around 1889. ये कब दिया था? It was around 1889 when Hermann gave this concept, and Hermann talked about this concept of the learning curve. So there are four main types of learning curves, and we'll be looking at these learning curves. So what exactly is learning curve? पहले definition देखते हैं. So as I told you, it's a graphical representation of the progress of a child. So the learning curve is defined as the correlation between the learner's performance on the task or the activity and the number of attempts or the time they require to complete the activity. How much time he or she is taking to complete the activity or to learn the activity. So it is possible that once you start learning something, it is at a very linear pace that the learning progress is happening. So you are putting efforts and you are learning. You're putting efforts and you are learning. So it is the normal linear graph that happens. This is the first type of learning process, first type of learning graph that is there. The first type of learning graph in front of you is called as what? This is called as, the first graph is called as the equal return graph. It is called as the equal return graph. This is the first kind of the learning graph that is there. So you are putting efforts and you are getting the result. You put efforts and you get the result. While there can be multiple other ways in which you can see the graph being made. So in this equal return graph, you have, first of all, you have the performance that is there, and then there can be the learning progress. So jitna child aapka invest karta hai time, utna hi you have the performance. And this becomes the linear graph that you have. The second picture in front of you shows the diminishing return graph. It is the diminishing return graph. So there are some common types of graph, as I told you. The first one is what? The first one is the equal return graph that we have done. The second can be the diminishing returns. So in the diminishing returns curve, the rate of progress increases rapidly at the start of the learning and then decreases over time. So you see, बहुत ज़्यादा, with the steeping effort, you have this graph in front of you, a lot of effort is made, a lot of progress is there over time. The child does pretty well, and then there is a stagnant nature that will come in the graph. So gradually you will see the child reaching plateau. So you first of all see a huge amount of progress that would happen. There will be a rapid increase when it comes to the learning process. So I came to the class and I introduced a concept, and you guys are very energetic. Or maybe today you have a notification that UGC-NET exam will happen in 1 month. So initial 5 to 6 days you are truly, you are full motivated. There is intrinsic and external motivation also there, and you are working too hard. So this kind of performance is what? This is a diminishing return performance, because only for 5 to 6 days you were working hard. And after that it becomes steep, it becomes, the graph is not increasing at that rate. So this becomes what? This becomes a diminishing return graph. This is a diminishing return graph. So this is the first kind of graph that we have. It is a convex kind of graph also. Convex curve hai ye, convex curve hai, right? Then we have another kind of graph. This is a concave kind of graph also. It is also called as the increasing return graph. So in the increasing returns graph, the rate of progress is slow at the start and rises over time until full proficiency is achieved. So for example, again, you see the performance and the time period here. I introduce you, say suppose with teaching aptitude. So initially you are not able to understand the concepts like cognitive growth, affective studies. So these are some new concepts that are given to you. So you are baffled and you are not able to grasp the things. But gradually, once you are accustomed with the number of terms that I'll be using, and you have already solved so many past year papers, so many questions as well, the graph of performance will substantially increase. So this is the increasing return graph. It is an increasing return graph, which is also known as the concave graph. It is the concave curve that is there in front of you. Then we have the last but not the least, the S type of graph. So it is an S-shaped graph, S-shaped curve, which has the mixture of both concave and convex curves. The rate of the learning is the combination of both the positive as well as the negative accelerated curves. Thus, learning depends on how rapid of slow initial success is followed by the reserve condition in learning. So you see the child starts learning here, it's a very slow beginning there, then you have a steep acceleration and then you reach plateau. So this is a very important juncture, and you see questions also being asked from this region, that is the plateau. What is a plateau now? Let us know about that. So this is a learning plateau. So learning plateau is a flat, it is a long, flat and horizontal stretch in the learning curve, which represents a stationary stage. So it is a stage where you have substantially increased everything, you have substantially increased your growth, and now there is nothing that is going on. You are stagnant at this point, where apparently no progress of learning is recorded. So at the plateau stage, your own learning, you have already achieved your learning, and now no more increase or decrease can be seen. You have already cleared your UGC-NET, you have learned about all the concepts that are there. Now there are no more different topics to learn from. So this is what? This is a learning plateau that you may reach. So the learning represents a period in the learning process where, this plateau is what? It's a period where the learning process is showing no improvement that is occurring. So there is no improvement even when the number of participants are increasing and they are also participating a lot. So you are putting a lot of efforts, but you have already reached a particular point. You are studying too much, but you have achieved the point. So it is a point of stagnation where you are not substantially increasing or decreasing. So the number of practice here is not going to affect. You have already solved 100 PYQs related to this concept. Now you already know this particular concept. So you are stagnant. It becomes the stage of learning plateau. Also, fatigue can sometimes cause certain kinds of plateau. Let us learn more about the causes of learning plateau. So how can you reach this learning stage? This can happen. First of all, it's a very complex stage and a number of characteristics are there. Causes kya hai? So it is the complex nature of the task. It is possible that because the task is so difficult, you are now at this stage where you are not learning anything else. You have understood what you need to, and the other concepts are out of your league. You're not able to understand it either with the MKO or by yourself. So with the more knowledgeable one, that is your teacher, or with yourself, you are not able to grasp the concept. Then you have poor physical condition. It is possible that you cannot invest more time, more energy. You are tired. The physical conditions are not favorable. You do not have a good seat to just sit there and to deliberate on the topic. So you have reached a stage where you cannot learn anything else. You're tired. It is a stage of fatigue. Lack of interest. I am not interested in this topic. That is why I'm not investing more. Loss of attention. There is too much noise in the class and I cannot grasp anything else. There are unfavorable environmental conditions. You see some of your friends playing and you have to study deliberately. So this becomes a condition that's very traumatic for a child. So he or she is not able to invest more time and it's not interested as well. Lack of previous practice. Maybe you do not practice a lot. That is why you are not able to understand the concepts. Lack of maturity. Maybe you're not that mature, maybe you're not that aware that these topics are important for you. Then it can be lack of motivation. Now motivation can be intrinsic and extrinsic. It is possible that you are not motivated. Maybe bahar se bhi aapko koi motivate nahi kar raha hai, so there is zero amount of extrinsic motivation and you are not, of course, motivated yourself. So there is no self-awareness, there is no self-motivation, that is intrinsic. Then there can be defective method of teaching. Now, it is very much possible that the teacher has taken a wrong method of teaching. That is why she is not able to grasp the attention of the students. This is a major drawback that can happen in the class. It can be there that maybe the topic are correct, the method is correct, but the child is not motivated, or maybe the methods go wrong, instructional facilities go wrong. There can be illness of the learner. Maybe the learner is not well. Maybe there is some kind of illness that they are suffering from. Maybe there is weak eyesight, and the child is suffering from a weak eyesight, and the teacher is using demonstration as a method. So the two things can hamper the learning process of the child. So it is important for the teacher to do overall performance test as well, to understand ki kaun se methods sahi hai and how she has to teach the students. Now, how to eliminate this learning stage of learning plateau? How you can avoid reaching this stage where you cannot improve further? Everyone wants to improve further. Significantly, there should be a substantial increase. What all steps can you use, and how can you eliminate that you do not reach a stagnant situation? Adopt efficient methods of teaching. Use different methods and tools, use different instructional facilities and varieties, so that the students know that they have to learn things, they are interested, they are motivated, and they are participating in the class as well. Then arrange learning activities according to the increasing level of difficulty. It is possible that the topic is too difficult, so try to teach it in such a manner that the students can relate and understand things. Use different activities so that there is engagement with the students and they do not feel burdensome. Then provide incentives to arouse interest. It is very important that the teacher gives reward. So with reward and punishment, this is what Skinner has also said. B.F. Skinner talks about this only. Operant conditioning and classical conditioning are the two concepts that can be used in the class. B.F. Skinner talks about the operant conditioning. So there can be rewards and punishment that can help the child to cater their to capture the interest in that topic. Then use appropriate audiovisual aids. You can say that use correct methods or audiovisual aids. Instructional varieties should be correct. Try to use good instructional varieties. If you have good instructional varieties in your class, the attention of the students will never lapse and they will understand the things better. Avoid physical and mental fatigue. Help the students. Even the students need to help themselves to be readily active. Eat good. Just stay fresh in the class or in the school timings. Just try to deliberate on everything. Have group activities. Encourage one another. These are important things. You can have few breaks between different important topics that you are taking. So you can divide the topics into chunks. So these are the methods that the teacher already decides before she comes to the class and presents her stuff in front of them. Then provide proper rest also. Proper rest and proper timing is important. Making the topic or dividing the topic into smaller parts or dividing it into chunks always helps to study the topics better. And these are also the principles of teaching. The principles of teaching, the concept that we did in the class is very much same. And if you properly use all of these principles, you use instructional varieties, instructional tools, then teaching will become easy and the child will also learn. Because any good teaching is only possible when the TL process is smooth. Teaching learning process is smooth. So what did we learn? We learned that there are different types of learning curves. Learning curve is nothing but a graphical representation of how the child is learning. Around 1889, this concept was given. A learning curve basically is a correlation between the learner's potential or the performance on the task, the activities they are doing, and the number of attempts, the time period. So performance and the time period. The first type of graph that we discussed is the basic linear type of graph, that is the equal return graph. I put efforts, I get my reward. I put efforts, I get my reward. But basically, this is not the idealistic situation that you will see. Definitely, you will lose interest sometime and you will gain interest sometimes. So, there are multiple other kinds of graphs also. There can be diminishing return. You knew that your paper is approaching, you studied too hard, then after some time you lost interest. Maybe NTA said that paper is getting postponed by 10 days and you lose your interest. So, this is this diminishing return graph. Then you can have increasing return. As the paper is approaching, you study even harder. So this is an increasing return graph. There can be two types of graphs combined together. It's a S type of graph where you can also reach the stage of plateau. So this stage is also very important because from here you see no substantial increase. So what are the causes? We have already discussed. Complex nature of the task, maybe it's too difficult, maybe you lose attention very quickly, maybe you're not motivated, maybe teacher has not decided a good method to teach, lack of interest, lack of maturity. These can be the reasons. How you can eliminate? You can avoid fatigue, you can have good instructional facilities and methods, give them proper rest. Also, with the increasing difficulty level, try to indulge the students in multiple activities, use effective tools to teach in the class. So these were the important things that I had to discuss with you. If you still have any doubt, you can ask me that in the comment section and I'll surely reply to you. Thank you.